It's safe. All right, so here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, give her a big round of applause. She's going to be the first. Go ahead.
I thought I would start this all since you guys wouldn't get up. I better get up. I've known Marty. I've known Lee and Marty, the daddy, since 1957 or 56. They came to Bermuda. I went to work with them in 1957. Marty was 3, Mark was 2, and Michael had just 6 months, I think, maybe 5 months. And I tell you, she didn't want anybody else to look after her children but me. So they left Bermuda in the end of 1958. And so she came to my house and she said, I want you to come. I'm going to call for you to come up when Mary Joy is born, and she's born 21st of December, and my brother was born 22nd of December, so I shall never forget her birthday. And so I stayed with her for 4 months at the time. Then I came back in 1960 when Marty and Lee went to Germany for the whole month, and I looked after the whole 4 children by myself. She bought all the milk and all the bread that I needed for the whole month, and I would just take it out the night before and let it go out. So I didn't have to go out shopping for anything, not a thing. And then I came, well, when Michaela was born, 1963, or when was Michaela born? Well, Michaela only...
Can't tell.
Michaela only weighed 1 pound. Michaela only weighed 1 pound, so she had to spend so many months in the hospital, so I didn't get to come at that time to help out. But I came back in 1965, 66, when Margaret was born. And so they were staying in Arlington, Virginia at that time. So when I went back home, I think 1967 they moved to Germany, and then after Germany they came here. So I came back here. I came to visit in Hawaii in 1978 when they were celebrating the 25th anniversary. So I told them I was coming back to see them again in the 50th. I didn't get to come then, but I came back. In the 60th, I came back 2013 for the 60th anniversary. The daddy had just died a couple months ahead. I said, I'm still coming. So I only intended to stay for 6 weeks, but before that 6 weeks that was up, I got picked up another little nanny job with a family in Lanikai. So I came back and worked 4 or 5 months with them, and they put their youngest child in school. So I think Lee got upset that I was going to leave, and so family got me to stay right there and look after Lee. And so I looked after her for almost 2 years until she died. And so I was planning to go to the Philippines to see my grandchildren in April. So I stayed there in the house January, February, March. At the end of March, I went to the Philippines to see my grandchildren there for the whole month of April. So I came back in 1 week and then I left. But Marty came back the first week in May, came back to Hawaii because they were going to celebrate my birthday along with Michaela's birthday. Her birthday was on the 5th. And so we had a nice weekend together. And I only talked to him one more time when he came back here to Miami. Only one more time, and he didn't seem himself at the time. But I let it go, and that was the last time. So I am hurt. I cried all the way.
Misfit friends, like most of us, and for 30 years, on and off, this and that. Franny Mae, Freddie, his favorite stocks. Don't buy any of them. Just keep your money out of Wall Street. But last week, a couple weeks ago, we were on holiday with my family in Ireland, and we drove over to take photos of the old Gillen plot in County Wicklow. Very beautiful. Marty had asked me to look at it, and took photographs, sent them back. And in fact, I got an email from him at 12:44 p.m. on the 9th of June saying, got the pics, call me. And I called him, and I called him, and I called him, and here we are. But he was a great friend, and we all loved him, and we're all going to remember him. And God bless Marty Gillen.
Amen.
We met each other in San Diego, which I'm from and Marty resided in for a period of time. And for those of you in the viewing last night, you got a little taste of some of my time with Marty. We spent a great deal of time on the water, both water skiing, surfing, and I mentioned to a couple of family members last night, we took a little surfing trip to Australia as well, in fact, circa about 1991 or so. And my memories of Marty are a person that never took himself too seriously, always had a lot of fun. Back in the day, although not too many people probably remember me as a jokester, or maybe even Marty in his more serious elderly days, it's always the running joke of who was going to outdo who. And some of it's in the video, some of it not. But as much as I appreciate the service today, and it was a wonderful service, the Marty I knew, like I say, was a serious when he needed to be, but for the most part, like I say, what I adored about him most is he never took himself too seriously. He was a fun-loving person to be around, had a positive outlook on life, and I'm not just saying that because of his passing, that's really truly the way he was, that's the way I view him. So we're going to miss him, but by the same token, we got out of the way this morning, our kind of memorializing his passing, and now we're kind of in a celebration of his life, and that's the life that I knew about Marty. So he's gone, but we're all going to join him soon enough. He beat us to it, that SOB, but we'll all be along shortly.
Marty's 61, so he was the older cousin, and my parents were separated at the time, and we were about 8 to 10 years old, I can't remember, but my brother and I were trouble, and everybody knew it. But Marty was then designated to take us down to, Marty was designated to take us from King of Prussia area to Washington, D.C., where my father lived, and so he road tripped with us for one of the first times in our lives, and so he got a handful. But I don't know if you guys know, or if he tells the story like he always tells it when he sees me, but we went through the toll booth, and my brother and I threw our apple cores in the toll booth, and God, it was the worst thing Marty had ever been through. But the other time I'd like to share, it's like, it's funny, 2000 was the last time I was down here, and I was dating somebody in Argentina, so I would fly from Colorado down through here and stay at Marty's, and the last thing, he's like, let's go surfing, like right before the plane was about to take off. So I'm like, sure, why not? I've got nothing to do, I can try. I snowboard, so maybe I can surf. And of course, the first, right at the spot we were today was where we were, and it was dusk, it was turning dark. We were still out there, and all of a sudden, I hit my face on the sand. Like, I'd never hit my face so hard, it was like cement. And all of a sudden I have a lump on my head and everything, and I had a 14-hour plane flight. And to make it worse, I had actually, it was 2000, and I had just lost a business I was in. So I was like, bam, 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 and then I'm getting on this plane with this wart. And I just remember Marty sitting around the plane, all they were worried about is trying to find me Advil and trying to get me safely on the plane, and taking care of me while I was here and trying to have fun with it. So anyway, that's one of the last times I was here. I've seen Marty since, but that was the last time I was here. So just like everybody, he was just really open and welcoming with his place anytime I needed it. So thanks.
Cousin of Marty's, 20 years his junior, and I've told so many of the stories, so forgive me for the repetition, but right after college I started talking to Marty. I didn't really know Marty that well growing up, and he said, listen, I have this place down in Miami, if you ever want to come, you can come down here. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, and you can bring as many people as you want. So I took him up on the statement, and I showed up with about 15 of my fraternity brothers, and we had one of the best times of our lives in this house. So I already apologized to the neighbors that were here today for the night that we kept them up all night and the police came and threw us all out. But that was the first time I'd come down, and then I'd come down a lot more and I came down one time with a girl who is now my wife, and we fell in love in this house. And it wouldn't have been for Marty had he not asked us to come down. We now have a family, and it's all due to Marty's generosity. So, Marty, we love you. This is exactly what he would. And his hot tub. Yeah, I guess that's where the kids came from. But and that's what Marty would have wanted. Yeah, that's what Marty would have wanted. He's always walking around, and someone was saying it before. You know, I didn't know whether it was naked. He was kind of naked. They were like driving around. He was half dressed every time I was here, and I said, "Marty, can you put some clothes on? This is a little uncomfortable for me." Look, it's my house, my rules, man. So I know you talked about Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, all that, but he did. If you talked to Marty enough about stocks, if you kept talking to him, you might have gotten even to another one. And he just told me this one, National Bank of Greece. I mean, they may be going bankrupt, but and that's my story. I love you, Marty.
All right.
And this is exactly what he would want.
Marty told, this is second in, Marty told me he went to Ireland, to the west coast of Ireland, to surf. So he looked at the map and found the most desolate place he could see, the furthest point, and he went to this thing. And he goes into the little village, and he goes into the pub.
Hold the mic closer to you.
First thing happens is
Push the mic next to him.
Everybody stops talking and looks at him. He said, "My name is Marty Gillen." Well, they all shook their head. Okay. I come from Hawaii, and they're all, "What? Who's this guy?" I'm the captain for American Airlines. Well, this is the biggest lie they've ever heard in their life. Like, sure you are. And I came here to surf. At that point, these people had written him off. The end of the story is he made friends and they all came here.
They came to stay with him.
That was Marty.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I've known Marty for about a quarter of a century, which means I was 2 years old. Say, "Hey Marty, I really can't talk to you now. This isn't a good time." But Marty wasn't normal, nor am I. So I continued to talk to Marty about what happened at the schoolhouse, and one thing led to another, and we were on the phone well over an hour, which is making my future boyfriend a little upset. Well, sort of things kind of progressed a different direction to kind of compensate for Marty's phone call. So for the next 7 years of our relationship, whenever things wouldn't work out, he and I would always look at each other and always say, "That darn Marty." Because we always credited Marty and he never knew it, indirectly, for the start of our romantic relationship.
There's another one.
So here's to Marty. I love him dearly, and he will be very, very dearly missed. And he'll be with us forever.
Two quick Marty stories to tell. First one's kind of funny. Lived with Marty many times. Santiago was always a great layover for us, and one night we'd gone out. Now Marty, as much as he loved going out and meeting the ladies, he also wanted to be in bed by about 10 o'clock. So we were out, and I happened to meet this is well before I got married, by the way. An Argentinian doctor that was very intriguing, and her friend, and I brought them back to the table with Marty and I. And Marty's like, so basically I'm thinking, how can I prolong this evening, because I didn't want to leave. So I ordered 4 Red Bulls and vodka, and Marty's like, "You asshole." Anyway, the next story, please, this is not about me. This is about Marty and his character and his heart. I was also with Marty on my darkest day of my entire life. We had a Sao Paulo trip. That night, maintenance delayed, canceled. We were set to go out the next day, so Marty invited me back to his house here. So we stayed here, flew to Sao Paulo the next day. We got there that night, laid over, and the next morning we got up, went down to breakfast. I turned my phone on, and I had about 15 messages. I found out that my youngest daughter died in a car accident the night before. So Marty was the first person I spoke to at the breakfast buffet. He took me away and took care of me that entire day. Didn't leave me alone unless I wanted to be alone. He took care of everything and tried to get me back to Miami as fast as I could. Turned out I ended up deadheading back on the flight that night with him, but he was such a kind gentleman to me that night. I will never ever forget that, and I think that just represents what a quality individual and what a genuine caring man he was. And I'd like to propose a toast to Marty. Everyone has something to drink with. Here's to you, buddy. You were the best.
Yeah. Cheers.
We were great friends and great neighbors, and we spent a lot of time actually. I mean, he always came with his drink just walking into my house. So I started to do the same thing. I take my drink and I just walk into Marty's house. He always made the best Cosmos. I have to say that.
Here, Cosmos.
Yes. The Cosmos, yeah, exactly. The first thing he did was making a Cosmo. Whether you want it or not, you got a Cosmo. And yeah, we spent a lot of time and we had a lot of loves, and with the neighbors around here, it was really good. One time, another Marty story, I had a boyfriend at my house and Marty was used to just come over. So after a few days, my boyfriend, what's going on with this neighborhood? I mean, your neighbors just walk into your house, they walk around the block, they come here and there, and I said, that's okay, they all are nice, no worries. And well, a lot of stories, and always when he saw me, Marion, that's how he called me, always, Marion. That's the first thing he said, and it was like, always such a kind guy. I really miss him, I mean, it's like so, unreal to walk in here and not to have Marty open the door. I mean, he was always welcoming, always like, I mean, such a good heart, really, such a good heart. So I really miss him, and we all miss him. So, but we have the awesome memories to think about him. I mean, what a special character he was. Once I went on a run with him because he used to go running at night. I used to go running in the morning. And one day I said, I have to run one day with you after like years. So I ran with him and I couldn't stand up with him. I mean, he was going so fast and he had like this funny run. And I mean, I said, the next time I go with you, I have to go on a bike. I cannot keep up with you, because he was so fast. But I tried it and I almost collapsed during the run, but it was good. So, good memories remain and we miss him.
Bravo.